and go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the SiegeGG Debrief podcast. I think it's number 16 today. It is indeed. Today I'm joined with Sua from G2. I am sure
Hello.
you are very familiar with him. How are you doing today, Sua?
I'm doing quite fine. What about you?
Could have been better. Rough day, but life moves on. So today we're going to talk about operator balancing. It's been a while since we've done podcasts with SiegeGG, but I feel like operator balancing nowadays is a good topic to start with, as we have a lot of things to say about it. So to begin with, let's just dive right in. What do you think is the operator that needs the most balance right now? The most OP or most underwhelming?
The most underwhelming operator at the moment, in my opinion, is Tashanka. Let's talk about Tashanka.
Let's talk about the Tashanka if you want. You can go there.
Just hopping right into the Lord topic.
I
How
mean,
can we fix the Lord?
How can we fix him? Or maybe we just let him live the meme life, you know?
So, in my opinion, it's not worth to change the Lord. They should keep him. He is like a living legend in the online community.
I think people at this point mostly embrace the Tashanka. I've seen other subreddit, like the Apex Legend one, where they said, what's his name? The guy who throws like the poison smokes. It was like, he's
Caustic.
basically, Caustic, right? He's basically the Tashanka of Apex Legends. So, I mean, Tashanka is slowly moving on to live his meme life in other games too, which is great.
Okay, and the most over, and one of the operators that currently is too powerful is Nomad. Let's talk about Nomad.
Nomad? Alright. I guess we can always go with, on offense and defense, because I feel like defense also has its own problem, but Nomad right now, I think, yeah, you're right. That's a good way to start, and what we could do about it, because that was a hot mess before they actually nerfed her, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Nomad is that you lose you use all ability to have control over your character.
Oh, got a wild Emzo!
Whoa!
Alright, let me fix it. There you go. What's up, Emzo?
Are we live?
We're live.
Oh gosh.
The dad of Rainbow Six is back. It's been a while since we've seen you, Emzo.
Yeah, it was around Monday for the NA pre-show that we finally were able to do. Had different internet-related problems then.
You have any dad joke for us to begin with? Maybe.
No, I gotta warm up. I'm not awake enough yet.
It's on the
Not
fly.
awake. What time is it for you, Emzo?
It's like 3 p.m.
Yeah, it's like 3 p.m. I got up at 1 thinking it was then. The funny part is I keep getting told what time these things are, and what I'm told never changes, but my interpretation somehow is different every time.
Yeah, you always find a way to mess up. It's fine. We love you like that.
It's fine. Thank you.
Anyway, we were talking about we started briefly talking about operator balance and the way that Nomad right now is in many ways problematic, but there's I don't think there's like a clear solution to change her that would not either make her useless. Like, we can start to, I think, Suo, you were going to say something about her before Emzo intruded.
So my problem with Nomad is that you have the light on the air jabs, but there needs to be an audio cue. At the moment, when you go for flank as a roamer, you have no idea if there is like an air jab or not. You can't predict it. You just need to run in and pray for the best. And with an audio cue, you have actually like an decision-making process. You hear the air jab, you can decide, should I take the risk and step into it, or should I abort the mission and go another way? So giving an audio cue is like a good opinion to maybe balance it better.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think a lot of people know it, but let's say you put a Nomad trap on the side of a door frame. You can actually peek it. If you know exactly where it is, you can peek it and shoot it before it explodes in your face. Adding a sound might nerf her in some ways, but again, you're kind of stuck in a very tough situation where you're very vulnerable in a door frame trying to destroy a very tiny device. So I feel like that would be a great step towards making her more interactive, because right now there's just nothing. It's just you put it down and that's it. There's not much you can do about it, right?
Yeah, I mean it's problematic because you obviously, the game wasn't set up for defender or attackers to make traps, right? Like they weren't set up to set up traps, period. Claymores were a later addition. Like all the trap kind of stuff for attackers came late. It was originally defenders that were the ones to be setting up booby traps. And like, so for example, you have C4, which has like an audio cue, right? It has the kind of static sort of sound. But the funny thing is C4 isn't really used the way it was originally intended to be used. It was intended to be used as more of a booby trap. So there was the sound cue to kind of help people know. But now most people just throw it. So instead we have the Velcro sound sort of cue. I mean, maybe it as a balancing thing, instead of having the sound cue constantly beeping on the air jab after it's set up, maybe there just needs to be more of a sound while it's setting up. So you have like the like a kind of a pulsing or like a whirring as it's like kind of set it, you know, because there's the period of time while it kind of warms up, which thankfully they added because originally it did. If they had some sound during that, so that the defenders at least have a chance to, if they're anywhere nearby it roaming, they have a chance to hear that there's one near. Would be maybe less of a nerf, but still gives some kind of indicator. I mean, I guess right now you can kind of hear it being shot potentially, but it's just, I don't know, just to give it the someone trying to go for a roam flank a few extra slight bit seconds of warning before going around the corner. But I think the problem is just when you compare it to a Claymore, Claymores have pretty limited positioning and limited ability to hit someone, right? They have to hit a laser, basically. And people have gotten better with Claymore placements over time, but they're counterable with impacts because of those limited placements. So you have this problem in the game when something can be set up anywhere, you start to end up with weird kind of stuff with it. I mean, we've seen the kinds of things people have done with Black Eye. You have smoke canisters clipping through walls and things like that too.
Kite is kind of tough to counter if you don't have Thatcher, that is, because of the large AoE. But it's pretty much the same with Nomad, right? Because even the Claymores, you have like a small delay where you can just peek it and destroy it if you want, but with the Nomad, it's just instant. And you basically don't even know where it is, right? Oh, I think we lost Emzo.
Yeah. And another issue with the air jabs is that, let's say I'm in a 1v1 with Kanto, one of the best players in the world. He steps into an air jab, I will win this 1v1 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, it's like lowering the skill gap of players that are not that good. So if the best player in the world steps into an air jab and you're standing behind the corner, you just need to peek and shoot him while he has no control of his character. He can't shoot back, he can do anything. And that's my biggest issue with Nomad. It has been from the beginning. It's
basically the lack of interaction with it, I think, and that's a big problem. It's just she does her thing, and then there's pretty much nothing you can do to either counter it or deny it or work around it. It's there. That's your life now. You can't push this flank unless you are willing to bet he's not going to be watching it.
On small maps, Nomad is really powerful, but on big maps, many teams just use it as a sound indicator because it's really loud.
Oh yeah.
And after feeling the sound from the air jab works different to the normal sound iteration of Siege, that you have like the sound pathing. I think the air jabs have like a global sound. When they go off, you hear them even if you're on the other side of the map. I think that's also
it's really loud. I am not sure about the sound, but that's definitely a good point.
I would say this should be more like the Legion traps, where they have an icon, but you don't necessarily hear them from very far away. So the Nomad player has to pay attention to the icon to see that it's gone off, just like you do with the Legion Goo Mine. It just seems weird that they built a gadget that kind of goes against what a lot of the other gadgets are, right? Like most of the other gadgets give you some kind of warning or indicator. Even Mozzie's anti-drone thing gives you some kind of indicator. Vigil's invisibility gives you some kind of indicator. It's weirdly kind of against a lot of the other gadgets and abilities in the game. So obviously the lack of indication is a big balancing factor in that, but also like it is too easy for the attackers to just hear it. If they made it more of a visual indicator, then it might be a situation where a lot of people get away with getting air jabbed.
Yeah, and instead of putting a sound on it, is like we have the grenade indicator. Like when a grenade is flowing towards you, you see the grenade indicator. Maybe we can add something for this for the attacker, that an air jab is close, so we don't need to give it a beeping sound to make it not as obvious.
Could also be a lighting like a pulsating indicator, a bit like the blue glow from the Thatcher EMPs.
It's just like throwing around ideas on how to potentially make its operator more viable. But at the moment, I think like it's not as powerful as the first iteration of Lion. but it messes with your game, and it's really frustrating to play against the Nomad,
Or
especially good Nomad
or
players.
even the first iteration of straight up Nomad.
Yeah,
When it was blowing
with
up
the
midair.
proximity.
Yeah, that was
That was something else.
that was something else.
It would be kind of cool actually if Mute could jam it. So let's say it's around a corner like a Claymore would be. If Mute could jam it, as long as you could get a jammer and you still have one in your pocket, you know, in the radius, you could potentially jam it and then safely go through the corner, and then the attackers wouldn't know you. And that's more of a skill play because then Mute needs to kind of know to have a pocket one or be able to pick one up.
It would be
and not
really
have
cool,
them all-
like putting your mute jammers down in front of the door, checking if there's an air jab. If there's an air jab, you can melee it, pick up your mute jammer, and go on. That would be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be a
Still
simple
super
thing because it
risky.
wouldn't break anything, but
Yeah. Still is risky though. You're kind of putting a jammer in the flank that's usually covered by someone. So you're
Well, that's not
vulnerable for like
necessarily-
3 seconds.
if it's just trying to do it through a wall next to the doorway, you also then
Yeah.
jam any drones who might be right there as well. So it's
Mhm.
not like it does some double do. Also, I suppose you jam blitz if you try to rush through the doorway. Probably not gonna do a lot there, but it would just be nice to see more kind of interaction with that in terms of being able to do something with more gadgets. We don't have enough gadget on gadget kind of stuff at the moment compared to some of the early days. There was a lot more kind of gadget on gadget interaction. And I think right now a lot of stuff's kind of more standalone.
The issue, in my opinion, at the moment in the whole game is that we have too many gadgets that hard counter other gadgets. Like we don't have many soft counters. Let's say soft counters. Like Twitch is a soft counter to Kaid, for example. It's a soft counter for Mirror. But at the end of the day, we don't have like a lot of soft counters. We have only hard counters. Like this operator's hard countering this other operator. And at the moment, you need to have you don't have big variations of your attack lineup because you always need the soft breachers. You always need like a utility operator. You need the hard breachers. And at the moment, the game is really stalled. So
And then you have problems with equipment too. Like
Yeah.
you basically need at least someone to bring grenades, and usually it's going to be your soft breacher, so Buck, Sledge. So you basically have either Buck, Sledge, a Thermite, or maybe Bana. So that you have like 2 operator now that you can pick from.
and with Kaid on the board, we need to always bring a set.
And on Kaid, you
otherwise
need
can't
to
breach
bring a
anything.
Thatcher, indeed. So, like, I feel like the balance right now just... I know they try to, like, to buff some operators. Like, they're trying to buff Capital right now. Or, like, they tried to buff Glass in the past to try to bump up their pick rate. But I think you're dead on when you say we lack some soft counters, because right now it's just we're locked in the meta right now. There's no way
Yes.
around it. It's just you want to play that.
Like-
That's the maybe 7 operators you pick on offense. That's the 6-7 operators you pick on defense, and pretty much it.
Well, that's why we need more secondary gadgets. Like the amount of secondary gadgets trickle into the game too slowly compared to the number of new operators. And secondary gadgets can be like a really big positive impact in the game. You see the problem right now where the attackers are constantly in this juggling game of grenades, and when you take something away, you have to give something else to them. And right now, like the amount of choices is so limited. We keep ending up with these somewhat problematic combinations of attacker gadgets and secondary gadgets because like there's so few. Same with C4s on defense and things like that. We clearly need at least 1 or 2 more secondary gadgets from both sides, especially for attackers right now, because otherwise it gets really hard for them to kind of try and balance that stuff. And maybe some of those secondary gadgets could be somewhat useful as soft counters for some things. I mean, grenades are useful as counters, for example, to quite a few of the defender gadgets, especially like Evil Eyes and things like that. So having some more secondary gadgets that are either soft counters or ones that can be used in some ways to help deal with a lot of these things would be, I mean, a big help in terms of giving them more tools as well to properly balance operators. We see them, that constant grenade shuffle is still the perfect example of that, where they have to constantly decide who gets grenades and shift it around and then replace that with something else and try and not make it a problem. You have the same issue with like, oh, do we give this person smokes? Because then all of a sudden they start getting brought for their smokes to go with glass and so on and so forth.
Well, if we talk about secondary gadgets, what I would like to see is that we limit, like, we can say every operator can pick every side gadget, but we limit it team-wise. So you can only have 2 sets of grenades, 2 sets of smokes, and 1 other icon. You can only have 2 claymores at the same time. You can only have 2 operators with breach charges at the same time. So we limit the amount of gadgets, but we make it available for every operator. So the teams can decide, do I want to play my glass with claymore, smoke, grenades, or something else, depending on what your team needs. current issue is that you have like Maestro, for example. You always need a soft breacher with long range like Sophia or Ashe to get rid of the Maestro camps. Otherwise, you can't destroy them in any other way. The only other counter is Sledge, and it's like melee. You can only get them if they're really bad, like placed far out of the bomb site.
And even Maestro right now is just, you can have a bad place, like poorly placed Maestro, and it doesn't really matter. It's still gonna feed information if the buck is gone because he doesn't have grenades, or if like he absolutely needs to bring something to break it, and even then maybe it's gonna be using something else. So if you have a Zofia in a castle, well, Castle Maestro, then it's starting to be hard to bring anything that's going to get rid of the soft destruction like that.
Well, you just give Sledge the ability to throw his hammer, right?
But then after he's thrown his hammer once, it's gone. It just disappears. Like
straight up.
We need a like that's like a topic for the most overpowered defender at the moment. It's Maestro, in my opinion, because Maestro camps are how do I say it, like not too harsh. It's idiot friendly. Like no matter how bad you are as a player, no matter how less idea of the game you have as Maestro, you just place the camps and you did your job, because they constantly feed information. No one can destroy them without a soft breacher.
Well, thankfully they break half the time and face the wrong direction, right? So there's that balancing in
balance, yeah. If only it was like something willingly put in the game, but it's just random. Maybe a balance could be to randomly switch the camera every 30 seconds, but that would just be completely infuriating for the players. I think on defense, a big problem right now is just there's too much information ops that are accessible to everyone.
I mean, if you take a look at Pro League at the moment, IQ has one of the highest pick rates in the game, because you have so much information operators in defense. You have Valkyrie camps, Echo drones, you have the Master Evil Eyes, you have Goo mines. You need so many so many operators to counter only with IQ. And when you give IQ the grenades back, that's maybe like a good idea to balance IQ more into the role of like a support operator. That is maybe even make her 2-speed to balance it even more. But with the grenades, IQ can deal with Master Camps on her own.
And she can also and then you I think just giving her grenades would bring a little bit more diversity in the play. We would maybe
also open like this +1 spot again. Like at the moment we don't have really like a +1. Like,
no.
Before certain operators came out, we had like one soft breacher, one hard breacher, one breach support, one meta operator, and you still had space for something else.
Just comfort pick at this point.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it'd be interesting to see then is to give the attackers a drone that works like a mobile mute jammer in a way, so that then, because they talk about wanting to be non-binary, right? With like they're trying to tone down Thatcher in terms of being more disabling instead of destroying, and we don't have any alternatives to Thatcher. So it'd be kind of nice to see like a drone that works as a mobile mute jammer and has a little bit of range to be able to go up and down. So for situations where Twitch, for example, a Twitch drone wouldn't be able to get in there successfully and jam something, but if something's kind of close to the ceiling of the floor, and you can get the jam drone kind of above or below it to kind of work, and then maybe even have that as a way to be able to counter the electro claws. Let's say someone places them on the ceiling on hard spot or whatever, then if you can get your mute jam drone close enough to it, you could potentially temporarily disable that. But you only get one or two of those, and so as soon as you lose it, you know, you've got to be careful with where you use it and how you use it, and then of course risking Mozzie taking it, for example. But I think that would be an interesting soft counter to an extent, like because it only is disabling it while it's in range of that thing. So it might be something that could help sort of deal with a lot of the information issues with defenders having so much right now.
Interesting idea.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know they want to get rid of the Thatcher being like a binary thing, but there's just so many things that there's so many equipment on defense that it's getting hard to manage it, to like destroy it and get rid of it. It's just crazy. And
right? You end up with no alternatives to him, and you're kind of important.
Yeah, and it's especially through with like gadget. You take Volcam, Elamine, Goo mine. There's like so many spots you can put them that unless you have an IQ scanner, or that you have like you take your time to actually look around and waste a lot of time just to destroy simple gadgets, you're not going to see them.
Well, it's a good thing they introduced Maverick, right? 'Cause Maverick's been one of the few things that's kind of helped the Thatcher bans from like completely ruining the game, especially.
Yeah, for hard breaching a bit. Oh, bye Enzo. Oh no, you're back. But I think the Kaid should probably. We were talking about Nomad, and now we need like a buzzing sound or a light. I think maybe Kaid would like need that too, like a flashing light on top of the claw to be like easier to identify. Because right now you can just put it anywhere on the wall, and
Well,
it's
Smoke's
really hard to
canisters
spot.
have that same flashing light that you could put on there.
Yes, and it's a bright color too, or maybe just make it a bright color, but like make it easily easy to identify. Like, so if you're below, you took control of like a room below, and you're bucking like below, trying to look for above. You shouldn't have to spend like 30 seconds there trying to look like slowly. Oh, is there a Kaid there? Is it there? You should be like, all right, there's like the yellow flashing thing. That's the claw. I'm just gonna shoot it.
Well, that would also start to counter another issue that we have. If you compare the gadget size of year 1, year 2, year 3, and now year 4, the gadgets get smaller every season. Like if you compare like the original Bandit battery with the Kaid claw,
Yeah,
the Kaid claw is like a third of the size.
super
And
tiny.
It's super tiny.
It's super tiny, and you
It's
can
not
put it
visible
everywhere.
anymore. Like we
I
had a
think-
period where everything was invisible for a while.
Yeah, and now we have the pests from Mozzie. They
Yeah.
are so small. It's nearly impossible to spot them when they're hidden in a corner. You can even put them on the stair, like on the outside of a stair, and
You can
they
put
are
them on a
covered.
wall.
It's ridiculous how small the gadgets are.
And again, we just lack destruction because you pretty much need Thatcher at this point, but Thatcher mainly disabled things. And if you want IQ, then you kind of limited in what you can pick operator wise. So we're just like circling around. Hey, that's the 5 operators you're gonna pick for pretty much every bump site at this point. There's a couple variation where like more streamlined map like Oregon, maybe you can like be a little bit more creative because the map is figured out like 100% at this point. But
What I wish for the future is more simple operators like Gridlock.
Mhm.
Gridlock is a simple operator.
yeah,
She works out. Maybe she needs some tweaks here and there, but it's really simple. You throw the thing at the floor, and that's it. There's no fancy holograms or spiders that can hack drones. It's just booby traps. It's so simple, and I hope that we get more of, like, if you look at Sledge, for example, Sledge is the most simplistic operator in the
Basic.
game. He has a hammer. That's it. He has a sledgehammer. And I wish we can have more of these simple operators in the future.
yeah,
I
that'd
guess
be
I mean Maverick kind of is. He's just got a blowtorch.
Yeah.
right.
For example.
That's interesting, yeah. But just quickly, I liked your idea. Maybe in pro settings, and maybe eventually in rank if rank want to follow professional setting closely enough. I think it'd be interesting to have like a pool of grenade and pool of flashes and pool of claymore available.
Yeah, that's
and
what I
or
meant with,
breaching
like-
charge.
Yeah,
That'd be
that's what
really
I meant
interesting.
with
Yeah.
saying, like,
I know that was
can only
very
have 4
interesting, and
grenades.
I think maybe on defense, I think Bikini spoke about it at some point, but having a pool of reinforcement too instead of like it being 2 per operators could be interesting. Because now you can have more times to like do things in your prep phase. So you can have roamers
Yeah.
go farther away, hunt for drones. You can have like Smoke not worrying about like reinforcing anything, just making like his destruction holes and taking his time to do it. Meanwhile, you have operators like, I don't know, Rook, who can just reinforce stuff and
I
be
mean,
like,
we
"Alright."
all know that in Ranked this would not work.
Oh,
Like,
for
there's
sure.
no way this
Yeah.
works in Ranked.
For sure. But
Same with any kind of pool of anything in ranked is like going to be at risk of like people just trolling others or doing things that are dumb. Like the level of teamwork is too low.
for sure, but like
May-
for a professional setting, that would be like great.
To make this viable for Ranked, what we could potentially do is, like, at the beginning of the round, you like in the operator pick phase, you can say, do I want to have my reinforcements or do I want
Or
to
give it
spend
away.
it into the pool?
Yeah,
So
that'd be
and
nice.
when you don't care about your reinforcements because you're roaming on the other side of the map anyways, you can just throw them into the pool, and other people that are side anchors can pick them up and reinforce
Mhm.
somewhere else on the side.
Yeah, that'd be
Maybe
really
this could
nice.
work at Ranked.
So you
I
take
just assume it'd be similar, and people could just keep reinforcing while there's still ones in the pool, and you didn't have to explicitly give or take any of them. But it was only a pro setting.
That'd be interesting. So you have like it would change a bit, like maps like Clubhouse, where you can just have one operator going to get like all 3 hatch in basement or things like that.
Yeah, you
That
just
would
have the
like
roam to go
streamline a
off
lot
and
of
do like
things.
all kinds of.
I think that would be a good way to eventually balance things out, especially with equipment right now that we're just locked. It's just, hey, I have 1,000 flashes that I can throw to burn out ADS, and I don't really know what to do about it, so I'm just gonna throw them. And I'm struggling to get like
just as
grenades.
a side note, attackers should lose 1 flashbang per operator.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
2 is perfectly fine. 3 is too much.
3 is way too much.
There's also no other operator that can potentially replace the Jäger. If you want to get the protection from the grenades, you need to play the Jäger.
Yep.
There's no alternative. But the operator's fine. It's like, he has a good gun, he has good sights. Not an ACOG, but that's fine. Barbed wires is fine. And the shotgun on Jäger is ridiculously good. Like on close range, this shotgun melts people.
Nasty. Yeah. Shotgun is underplayed for sure.
It's underplayed, but
favorite recruit shotgun rush right there.
Just play it on bank, base, like server stairs with all of your ADSs and the shield and the shotgun. You're ready to go.
You're ready.
You're ready.
Maybe we could move on to like we haven't talked about it at all, but like the shields in the game right now, I don't think they're in a great place.
Like Montaigne and Blitz, or do you mean deployables?
Yeah, Mountain and Blitz. No, deployables, we're getting new ones, which is going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of how much that makes basically everyone able to be Mira kind of. But yeah, obviously, I think no one's really come up with like a perfect solution, I think, for how to deal with shields in this game. So I think they're just going to struggle with it. And until someone has a really good idea on the dev team, you're not really going to see them doing it.
Put me to the dev team.
What's that?
Just make it like Clash. You can either have the shield or you can have the pistol. As simple as that.
That'd be a great start. Because right now, I think the shields are just like a Swiss knife. You just can do everything.
Everyone knows how frustrating it is when you get pre-fired by a blitz, hip fire, like a random headshot. Everyone knows how frustrating that is. And if the blitz needs to sacrifice like his protection to use the pistol, I'm even fine with giving him like a 9-round SMG CZ thingy. But then he needs to sacrifice the shield. And Montaigne is OP. Like,
well, you have to keep in mind the big difference between Clash and the other 2 shields is, so all of them are subject to being meleeed except for Montaigne fully extended. And especially Clash. But the thing is, Clash has something to help counter being meleeed, which is slowing people down with the taser kind of thing. So you need to kind of adjust somewhat the balance of the other shield operators. If you take away their ability to fire a gun and you make them have to switch, they have to be able to do something to help stop distance closing from screwing them.
This gives the option that you need to play with a teammate. Like this indicates that shield operators are team play operators. If you don't have the option to go alone as a shield, at the moment I can pick Blitz and rank and just destroy people because I want to. And
but I don't think you should ever have any.
Like Blitz has the opportunity to get rid of melees because you can flash people when they come close to you, and then you can change your pathing that they can't knife you while you're flashed.
Yeah.
The only operator that doesn't have it is Montaigne, and Montaigne can keep the immunity to knives or melees.
I think they maybe upgrade, like a while back, and I think it's year 1, they nerfed the explosive damage on shields by quite a lot. Maybe buffing the damage from impact nades and C4 on shield would also be a great way to do it, so they can't just like walk towards you. You have actually a way to defend yourself. And if you decided to keep 2 impact nades and don't use them like for rotation and all, maybe you should be able to use it against like a Monty or something.
Well, I was always a fan of the reduced explosive damage on shields. So what we could potentially do is to also buff the impact grenades, is like reduce the like negated damage from impact on shields. So impact do more damage than a C4, for example.
Maybe, yeah.
That makes impact grenades even more viable than they already are.
In my perfect world, you would have, like what you said, no hip fire, or if you have hip fire, remove the laser to make it like garbage.
It's even more RNG then.
Like make it like super garbage that you're never gonna hit a shot in like 1,000 year.
The issue is you always have the luck. Like you can always one tap someone with a shield even without a laser while sprinting.
Yeah,
Or
while
like
sprinting.
while moving.
But like, the thing is, ADS time is way too fast, too.
But they already nerfed the ADS time on the TTS, and I don't see
Still,
any difference.
Yeah,
I don't see any
I've heard
difference.
they nerfed it. I tried it, and I was like, feels the same.
Yeah.
And you just go, whoop. The guy turns around, try to run, he's dead.
Like
Try to
even
stay close to you, he's dead because your melee gets the advantage.
put it into perspective, Montaigne is like I'm from Europe, so I'm using kilograms, by the way, chat.
I'm using kilograms too.
Montaigne is using 100 kilogram shield and can ADS in 0.35 seconds. It's
Insane.
It's ridiculous.
With perfect accuracy. Maybe there should be like a sway when he aims or something.
Yeah,
but...
maybe some kind of aim punch. Maybe when he gets shot at the leg, that he's like flinching. There are a lot of ways to.
But I feel like the shields are like they should be. Oh, bye Emzo. Let's switch back. They should be used like clashes with teammates. People need to be around you. But right now it's just, hey, I'm a shield. I'm a one-man army. I'm a Swiss knife. I have tools to do absolutely everything. Just gonna do it. Just gonna kill people. Just gonna like hold angle, clear the roamers, pressure them until they have to fall back, and then just aim down the side faster than Lucky Luke and just win. There's basically nothing you can do aside from winning a war of attrition against them. It's just take some gunfights, shoot in the hands a bit, like get 10 damage off, then peel back, 10 damage, peel back, 10 damage, peel back, and repeat until you probably die before they die.
I'm pretty sure you were still a player when the Montaigne revolver was a thing.
Yep.
That was ridiculous. Like the revolver, like 6 bullets.
Perfect accuracy.
Yeah. And
perfect accuracy. That was great.
I remember when the game was first, like the first beta, I played a lot of Blitz because you can always, like, you had the 100% accuracy on hipfire. Your bullet always hit at the middle of the crosshair. It was really easy to kill people, so they already changed it to more RNG.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they should even increase hipfire even more. It's already really big if you move, but bigger, like bigger.
Make it useless. It's just too good at the moment. You're a mid-range war machine, mid and close range war machine. Long range, if you get a good player,
it's also really hard to knife a shield. Like if the shield is like if you knife at the same time, the shield wins in 99%.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a great way to a great first, maybe I don't know if it's a first step at this point, but a great step where if a melee and an operator melee at the same time, the shield gets in a knockback, and the damage from the melee just disappear. So if you're in a melee, the operator should win over the shield.
Yeah, the biggest problem is like with all of these ideas, is it actually practical? Is it actually possible for the devs to do that?
I don't know.
So
that's yeah, Rainbow Six for you guys. The engine is sometimes limiting. Recently we've seen, well, I say recently, but in about, I don't know, at this point, a month. It's probably 2 months. We're gonna get a new Lion and a new Capitao, I think. That's actually being played in the TTS. I think Lion is confirmed. I don't know about Capitao. I know they initially made the change and decided to not do it until they rework a bit of how he is. Have you had time to actually try the new Lion with the ping?
Yeah, I like the new Lion. The biggest issue of Lion always, like, the Lion issue was always the outlines. Now it has a ping, I'm fine with that.
I think
maybe they should.
Oh, I'm so
maybe they should consider to remove the charges from 3 to 2. But
yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that Lion with the 3 charge was maybe slightly too much again.
I mean, Lion is now in a place where he can be forever. Like, he's like a global jackal. They have like 2 charges. You can ping everyone 2 times. Now at the moment it's 3 times, but you can everyone ping 2 times. If you want the jackal to like further increase the value of this operator, you can decide if I want to have the Lion for the early advantage or the jackal for the late round advantage. It's now perfect. You have a decision on that.
And I mean, peeking while being pinged is really not the end of the world, because it doesn't carry as much information as an outline, because the outline is just describing your stance, your speed, exactly when you're going to peek. Whereas a ping is just, hey, he's there. You don't know if he's prone. You don't know if he's crouched. You don't know if he's standing, and you don't know if he's actually really peeking you because you lack the information between the two ping. And if your eyes catches on the ping, then maybe your reaction time will be slightly lower and slightly higher, sorry, and you will miss the guy peeking you even if he has a ping. I think it's right. I haven't had the opportunity to actually try him in the TS. I've had maybe previous version of it, but
I played against it.
It felt way better than
good.
It is right now. Yeah,
it feels really good. Even to play against it, it feels not too overpowered. You always have this opportunity to do something against it. You can use the pings as bait, for example, as you explained.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. I like the new line, and I hope they don't touch them anymore. Like the only thing that they can tweak is the countdown and the action time, but don't touch the ping system. The ping system is great.
I think it's great too. Yeah. Have you had time to try it, Hamza?
Just a little bit, but the TTS is always kind of like sparsely populated, so
yeah,
I don't know. Like it's I think I agree that it's definitely much better. Like the pings aren't that big of a deal in comparison. Like pings from Jackal are kind of sucky to be pinged on, but it's certainly not like you're just dead at that point. Same with the Prismas as well, pinging you on the outside. Like anything you can kind of also use against them as bait, I think is a little bit more balanced in that sense. It's much better. It's just still unfortunate, though, that using his ability still has no risk. And I definitely would like to see them not introduce tons more low-risk global ops. Like, I think global op is okay and is fine to an extent, as long as it's still some element of risk or some downside to it to some extent, like a reason why you have to consider it. Before, the only downside was when do you pop it? Like, that's it. And
okay.
Okay.
Good point.
Yeah. To the protocol.
I really hope we're past global ups, because that was a weird phase.
Was weird.
There was a weird phase of Rainbow Six where we had like 3 global ups in like not too long.
What? Oh yeah, we have Finka, Dokkaebi, and Lion.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
All of them came in year 3.
Yep. One after the other. I think was it after the Invitational, Lion, Finka, and then right before that
Dokkaebi and Vigil. Yeah. I think Vigil was introduced before the Invitational, and Finka, Lion after the Invitational. And Finka and Lion had to be introduced after the Invitational because they presented the, what was the name? Outbreak mode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Outbreak basically gave us Lion and Finka. Unlucky.
The best operation ever.
The best. Sometimes I wish I could play it, but when it was out, I didn't actually play it that much. Not enough friends.
Feels coach, man.
Feels coach, man, indeed. But with Lion, we also had Capital. I know I've complained a lot about the initial version of Capital. Thought it was too OP. I have not been able to find a game in the TS that allowed me to test him. I don't know if you have, but to me, I think the main problem I had with the previous versions remains, which is, fire is bolt, even if it takes 2 seconds to expand. The result is the same. You have to get the fuck out of there.
I mean, that's the initial idea behind Line. You want to use him as a denial operator, like a hard denial for some certain spots or corners where you sit. So I'm since Capital was introduced to the game, I was a big fan of it. Coming from CS, like smoke grenades and Molotov grenades are like the best utility in CS, and I was really happy when he was introduced. You can use him like an internet, Molotov is the word that I can pronounce.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with the new iteration. The only issue that I have was the raining fire. Like I found some weird spots that
on the roof and comes down. Yeah.
Like on border, what you could have done on border, you sit on top of the roof next to the middle skylight where you can aid people in offices. You can shoot it at a certain angle into the bowl of the skylight, and it was dropping into the ninja corner. and that was ridiculous.
Yeah, for those who don't know, in the new version of Capitao, if you fire the bolt on a roof, it's gonna go straight down to the floor and make a circle
Underneath.
right underneath it. So right now you have like so many new angles, and the AOE is like much bigger too. So that's you can like pretty much go from below, make a bullet hole, fire through the bullet hole into the roof. It falls down and it burns the whole area. And the damage mixed with the area means you absolutely cannot. You can't just like shuffle around and find the like one spot where the fire is not touching you like it is currently. You're just gonna die in this new version, or you need to get out. And that's what I fear. It's like you don't really have any counter to it. It doesn't get picked up by Jaeger. It's fairly easy to land your fire, well, pretty much anywhere, since the AoE is much bigger.
They changed it. Like the bolt has now a bullet drop. Let's call it bullet drop. Yeah, gravity. So the long range angle from clubhouse strip roof into the server wall is not possible anymore. You need to aim.
How is the drop off?
Higher.
That's the one thing I haven't been able to try yet.
I would say like on 50 meters the drop off was like 2 meters. Like you had to aim 2 meters higher to hit the same point. So it could maybe be higher to make it like even higher skill ceiling. But the only issue that I still have with Capitao is the raining fire. Like I call it raining fire because you can do so much funny stuff with raining fire. Yeah.
The thing is, I really feel like the AoE is maybe too much. Like I would, the rainfire in itself is, in my eyes anyway, a buff. Maybe you can just keep that with the previous version of Capitao, which is high precision, high damage. You may kill someone, but you can like shuffle around if you're fast enough.
I mean, I like the idea of not making it like a guaranteed kill. At the moment, when you Capitao someone in the right corner, he will die no matter what he does.
Unless he leaves, but then he's forced into... There's only like one path. Capitao, bolt, leave.
But with reducing the damage, you give this player that is Capitao a decision to even like die in the fire or take the confrontation onto the people that are waiting for him.
Yeah, but my thing is I would reduce the damage even more, that you can survive a full Capitao bolt and get out with 10 HP if you want.
We'll compare it to like goo mines, for example. Right now, like goo mines, you could pretty much just like with how little time's usually left in a round, by the time you get a goo mine in, you probably could just leave it in and never really actually have, other than sprinting being taken off of you at the time. But it's just like goo mines are an example of where you can kind of do an effect to someone that causes damage, but it's so minimal, but it has other effects that you have to consider. Like, you know, the fact that you know where someone is now, or the fact that you can't. We don't really have any other kind of buff or debuff or anything from Capitao's Fireball other than the fact that you take damage. So maybe we need some kind of other effect.
I think you lost
other effect.
I mean, I think
you're cutting him.
Wants to imply is like, yeah, he's cutting a lot. So what we could potentially do is like a player that's affected by the asphyxiating bolt starts to, let's say, burn, and he's taking like 3 ticks of damage because he's burning.
You're not proposing more screen effect, I hope.
No.
Thank God.
Just the debuff icon.
Just like Legion, you're burning.
I don't want a burning man running around.
That'd be fun. But maybe just like a burn effect, like the Capitao poison tick. Yep. You get in and then it starts ticking, maybe. Because right now that really is my biggest problem. Is you're in a safe spot. Capitao throws the bolt. There's nothing you can do aside from running away, unless you want to die.
I mean, with the current damage the Capitao bolt does, you can even ADS in the fire and take the confrontation and then run away and you survive it.
Yeah, but like you can't stay. The way I see it is, let's say you're in Oregon basement in the closet. You have to leave. Let's say you're in.
No, you don't. You can sit on the box and you don't get damaged. I tried it.
Well, maybe we need to think about it like this.
Is it like
fire? So the fire is going around the box, and when you sit on top of the box, you don't get.
So it's fully. It's only like a small cylinder on the ground now, right? It's not like a ball of effect.
No, it's not a ball. It's just on the floor. So if you sit on the box, you don't get hurt.
It's still.
Maybe it's a bug. I don't know.
Maybe. I really need to go ahead and like grind 45 minutes of queue time to try
let's
to
compare
claim.
it to Dokubi's phone call or a goo mine, which are both effects that you can turn off by holding down a key to do something. So maybe we need something where you catch on fire. Like the fire effect itself is very short-lived, but you catch on fire, like you were talking about the poison tick, but you can hold something down. You maybe either need to be crouched or prone to put it out. So what you could do is you could still use it to suppress people from doing certain things or to be able to control people, but it's not something where it's going to kill you necessarily unless you leave it on for a long period of time. So basically, you've caught on fire. You need to kind of pat yourself out, just like you need to turn off your phone or pull a goo mine out of your foot. And if you don't, then you have some kind of debuff besides just damage. Maybe you can't sprint while on fire. I don't know. Something else that kind of throws you off. Doesn't need to be goo all over your screen kind of junk. But that's the thing, is maybe we need more knobs to tweak on it than just damage.
Again, I think it feels like what you were saying earlier. It's a hard counter for positioning, but there's no soft counter to it for the defenders. Like there's not much you can do because it doesn't get picked up. So you just rely on the Capital being like bad and being too much affected by gravity, right?
I mean, what could be like a potential idea to buff it or like to balance it is that you make the initial circle really small, but it's spreading faster. So let's say it's like 50 centimeters in radius, and it spreads really fast. So you have the chance to get out of it even without taking damage.
Could be. I'm not completely against, but I think it's gonna. I think it has the same effect as how Nomad was when the proximity explosion worked. So you're gonna be in the spot. He's gonna do it, catch you off guard, and there's basically only one solution: is you get out of that spot, and someone's gonna get ready to kill you.
I have another idea. Why we don't change it that it's like bigger and it has arming time. It hits the wall, and you can see it beeping like 3 times, and then it explodes. So you have the chance to shoot it before it explodes.
I like that. That involves skills, a little bit like Nomad right now, right?
Yeah.
And you have to turn your attention to it and pay attention to it. And while you do that, if you're alone, maybe someone can like push and flank you and kill you. So that's cool. It requires not team play, but it requires game sense and skills from both sides, which I think some operator lack sometimes. Take a couple of the recent operators, they're just like, Kaid, it's throw it, you're done. You don't really need to be skilled, and it's so small that your positioning doesn't really matter. Same thing with Maestro right now. It's just so few counter that you can be lazy in the way you place it, and it's just going to be good.
I mean, a topic that I talk about a lot, even outside of this debrief, is that power creeping is a big issue in this game. So you see operators that come out that are so much better than the current operators, like Kaid.
Kaid was literally the definition of power creeping. Like, even when they talked about it, like, we were trying to find a new operator that would be like Bandit, but different, and he just ended up being Bandit, but better in every aspect except against Termite. That was the only difference. Better in every aspect, but against Termite.
Even compare the gadgets, like you have like this like small cylinder of an electric box, and you have like the big
it's a stick
truck battery.
It's a small stick.
It's like you throw it and you're good. Like you don't. There's no skill involved. You can just throw it like you can sit everywhere and just throw it.
Yeah, you don't really need to be precise.
The only way to counter the power creep is to just then start buffing the old.
No, I would say the best idea to power creep is to put in more, like to extend the thought process behind new tools.
New tools in a toolbox, not just the same tools. Because like the way I see it, Bandit initially the design was put the battery down to deny a thermite, and then they need to either destroy the batteries with an EMP or a gun. And the bandit tricking was just a happy accident that happened along the way that professional player or rank player, I don't know who discovered that thing first, but like it was a happy accident. It was like, hey, you can do bandit trick and it's actually smart. But with Kaid, it was basically, hey, how can we use the concept of bandit tricking
to trick
and
hatches.
put it to a new operator. They don't like the ability was prescribed in Kaid, and how you play Kaid was also prescribed. Whereas Bandit was a happy accident, and they just like gave us tools, and we find out like how we can like make the best of it, and that was cool.
If you remember, like the first time that I really played Kaid was with you, and the first thing that was immediately in our head is how can we abuse this to trick hatches? Like that was like 10 seconds.
Yep.
Like we have the hands up on the operator. How can we abuse it to trick hatches? And
I think the first map was probably Oregon. The hatch was never open.
Yeah. And even now, like it's nearly like it's really hard to get rid of the Kaids on the hatch if they're placed correctly.
It is, because it comes back to Thatcher, but Thatcher, the glows is visible from like through roofs and ceiling and floor, so you can just like pick it up and you're good.
The other day, I played some ranked on Chalet, and I tricked 3 Hibana charges and 2 semi charges as Kaid on the garage. Like, it's
the only counter to it is just Thatcher, spam 2 Thatcher and you open it, but you still you are locked into Thermite, Thatcher, and wasting 2 Thatcher just to open like a wall.
Yeah.
So it's
or you pick the Maverick to get like the safe opening.
Yeah.
But Maverick takes time. Even with the Maverick trick, there was also a happy accident.
Mm-hmm.
Like cutting a line on top and on the bottom.
More
risky.
It's
high risk, high reward.
But Kaid is just I'm just gonna lay back and throw my Kaid or just pick it up.
While I have my ACOG revolver pistol in my hand.
Or the shotgun. The shotgun that can, by the way, have like more destruction and more ammo than smoke, so just want that to be known on the record. That's kind of crazy, but I'm very glad what they did with I'm very happy, I should say, what they did with Kaid and Nomad. Like, they came out to the TTS, the feedback came from multiple sources. They were like, all right, maybe they are really too strong in like the definition of power creep, and they nerfed it even before official release. And now, even if they're strong, they're not as obnoxious as they were before. And I feel like we've come a long way from like balancing. Just that that's the first proof that they
it's always like, I would say it's always the way we present Ubisoft, the critique.
Mm-hmm.
Like, instead of running to Twitter and say this is trash, this is trash, this is trash, why is this shit so overpowered, this game fucking sucks. Yeah, we can say, hey, this might be too strong, maybe we do it this way, and then they're like, oh yeah, maybe he's right, instead of saying this is trash. Like,
this is trash.
You see a lot of pros on Twitter rioting around against Ubisoft, and they hope they get something out of it, but at the end of the day, it's easier to...
But when it's feedback time, nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I really like Pengu's manifesto, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
It was really good feedback in a really long document. And that's better than saying the game is shit.
Yes, for sure. Might be maybe slightly too long and requires some experience with writings, but that was great. That was way better than saying the game trash, fix, please.
Pengu's manifesto.
That was great. There's also well, I mean, we've been talking about new operators coming, but I gotta say, I'm really excited with the new glass.
Oh yeah, new glass.
New glass is gonna be great. I feel like that's the perfect balance.
Pick rate's gonna drop even more on ranked now.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay. Yay. For those who are not aware, and if you're not, there's the videos available on the official Rainbow Six YouTube channel. But pretty much, if you're moving, the banana scope is just disabled. So you need to be standing still, and then the banana scope is gonna like fade back in, and then you can see. So if you're in the smoke peeking with glass, you need to be standing still if you want to kill someone. So it's a really good change, because right now it's just, hey, I'm in the smoke, I can do whatever I want, kill you.
And I have the smokes in my own pocket, so I'm a Swiss Army knife.
And I have my own smoke. So again, I think that's the main topic with like balancing is. They make operators. I think they try to please with the low level is probably not the right way to put it, but they try to appeal and make operator strong enough in the hands of people that don't play the game as much. So you end up with operators that are Swiss Army knife. They just
The
do
problem with
everything.
the problem with that is you give someone a cannon to shoot birds, and then you give a cannon to a pro player that's gonna destroy your country.
Yep.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's exactly that. That's a big part of why we ended up with OP operators. Even Lion, it was like, it's going to be good so people in rank can have communication. It's like, yeah, but professional are just going to break your shit with that. Even the high-level competitive, you just need to be in a 5-stack, and it's like, it's going to be easy. Like, you just gave me the key to victory, really.
I mean, I like at the moment in ranked attempt like a gentleman's agreement. No one agreed to it, but no one's picking line unless the other team is not picking
Yes.
line. So as soon as the other team picks line, you're gonna open the gates to hell. We're
So,
gonna pick
all
line,
right.
Joker, Jekyll. We're gonna bring you the whole meta in your face.
I am ready. You picked Lion. I'm picking Blackbeard, Blitz, Monty, Lion, and whoever else,
Ying.
whatever. Ying. Yeah, that's pretty bad. But like it slow. Again, the process took some while to actually start. But I feel like right now the balancing overall of the game is in a much better shape than before.
There's another topic that I want to bring up is that it would be nice to have global banned operators in custom games. So you can set up a custom game and ban Gridlock, Mozzie, and Line.
So it doesn't happen by accident in
yeah.
In Pro League.
It would in Pro League TMs. There's so many places where 10-mans or custom games are held that if you are AFK because the postman is coming and you pick Line on accident, you're gonna get banned or you get penalty points.
Yeah. It's a case right now in Pro League if you randomly get picked, and that's why it's pretty much why we need the 6-pick just to guarantee it's not happening. But if you're AFK, the game's gonna pick a random operator for you, and if it picks Gridlock, well, sucks to be you. You're having penalty points, or I think it's straight up you're losing the round, right?
Yeah, you lose the round, but I think you shouldn't be AFK in a Pro League match, right?
No, for sure, but people come back from the bathroom sometimes.
Yeah.
But yep, that's right. I think we've been on a lot of topics we've had about operator balancing. If you have nothing else to add, I would like to go towards what would be a good operator idea you would like to see in a game.
I want Fuse to be 2-2 just for the protocol. Fuse, 2 speed, 2 armor, just for the protocol.
2 speed, 2 armor?
Yes, that would make Fuse actually viable, because he has one of the best games in the game.
Yeah, the AK is really, really good.
Yeah.
Why not? They did it for Capcan, right? And he's still the same group.
Why not the what?
They did it for Capcan, and he's part of the same group.
Yeah.
Spitz, huh?
He is.
I mean, they're called the Thick Boys, but...
The Thick
Boys.
Well, there's the Thick Boys in the meme, so...
I would like to see Fuse 2 speed, to make him...
More viable, for sure.
If Fuse would be 2 speed, I would actually take him more into consideration when I create new attack strategies for my team.
And also,
well, he realized that he
remove
doesn't
his
take
shield,
away his
maybe.
pistol or shield. Yeah, I mean,
you can take away the shield.
Yeah, just take away, put him 2 speed, remove the shield, because we've seen how destructive 2 speed shields can be in year 1.
And the PMM is like the old revolver.
Oh yeah, the PMM is really, really good.
So if you see Fuse at the moment, you see him with shield because the PMM is so overpowered as a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
like Sexy Cake did on Dirt Tunnel on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
It's,
you don't use the ability at all. You just use the fact that he has a shield and the best pistol in the game.
It really has. If you had to make if you had like the ability to make a new operator, what would you make? What do you think is lacking right now in the game?
A Montaigne with an LMG on top of it.
Oh my god, get out!
I'm not gonna call it disaster.
Yeah, I just sneak a tactical nuke. All right. If the game reaches 10 seconds left on a counter, I can start a tactical nuke.
Okay.
And just get a draw.
Now to be serious, an operator idea that I have like since year 1 is an iteration of castle when you can take the castle barricades and roll them on the floor like bulletproof mats that you disable or deny vertical play on certain areas. I have this idea for such a long time, and I would really like to see that in the game.
Yeah, I've had this idea too, and it's probably while talking to you, I think. that you gave me the idea. I stole it from you. But I think this is a great thing. Like
Article 13, I'm gonna claim my copyright on that.
Would you put it like a reinforcement, a wall reinforcement, but on the floor, or more like it stops bullets, so you can still self-destruct it?
Barricade, but let Sledge be able to break it, but not Buck. So now then Sledge is better at fighting downwards, and Buck's better fighting upward.
But I think that's really interesting. It would change like some bomb site that have multiple level destruction. It's really interesting. I like that a lot. Even I want it now.
You can use that to protect yourself from below as well. Then, so like, say for example, half wall on border. Armory in a border. Yeah, then you could put it on the floor right there, and then Buck couldn't hit you from.
And then I'm gonna sit on my bulletproof yoga mat behind half wall, relaxing.
but then you have Zofia able to shoot a lifeline onto it, right?
Yeah,
and then take it out.
As I said, I really liked it. I hope we will see that at some day.
Yeah.
It's a simple it's a simple operator. Like, it's not anything fancy, nothing that is like consisting of technology from the 25th century. It's just a Kevlar mat.
And it's like,
that's probably why you won't see it. It's not going to sell season passes.
I think it's I don't know. I think it'll be good, but like again, we look at like the recent operators. They don't bring a lot of new tools to the toolbox, and that is exactly what we would need to create new strats and new way to defend a bomb site. Really, that's really interesting. You have anything, Enzo? Because I have an idea, but it's mostly for.
I mean, I'd like to see that mute jammer drone thing that I was talking about. For example, would be something that I think would be interesting to see, because I don't think people really play Twitch very well, and there's a good reason for it. But I'd like to see something that's not so destructive, but something that you can really strategize and move around, and then it also brings even more risk to playing against monsters.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see more special drone operator. You know how we have like Twitch? I'd like to see a special drone that does something similar. Maybe a drone that does like EMP, that's dumb, but like EMP pulse, or like something, a drone that's like IQ, who can spot easy the gadget from inside, or something that just highlights the gadget so you can see like CAID and cameras.
How about it does like a sweep? Like it does like a sweep of the room, almost like the Batman sonar sort of thing, and just shows the electronic outlines to everyone the way that IQ sees them, but only for that brief moment, like flashes over them, like just shows the outline, and then everyone can see it. But so, like, say for example, then that becomes a counter to echo drones, right? When you, rather than trying to ping where they're at, you roll one of those in there, ping the whole room for gadgets, and then everyone gets to see, okay, that's where the echo drones are, and then he's got to move.
Yeah, like, and the defender gets a feedback, so they know that, hey, the gadget is known, the gadget's position is known, so maybe you want to move it. That could be interesting, I think. It adds like soft counter a bit, so now you can like move around and try to pick them off. That'd be interesting.
What's your idea?
I have one that I would like to see is like interaction with the camera gadget. So you know how attacker go on drone in your camera? Maybe an operator that has like the way I see it is maybe make it work like Jackal. You can turn it on and off. And what it does, it clutters your field of view with the camera feed of your teammate's drone. I'm not sure if maybe only your own. I don't know yet, but I'd like to see like also, you can move and see the camera feed, so you can be on flank. You can watch the camera feed, but your like screen is cluttered with cameras, so that's a downside. Maybe it's harder to take a gunfight, right?
What would be cool is have like some picture-in-picture thing that you have like on the bottom left. You have like a small picture with your drone, so you can move, but you have always an eye on your drone.
Yeah,
the drone is constantly flashing, of course, but.
Yeah. That's what I like the ability to move around while seeing the drone feed. And it's the way to do it is probably to just see your own, but I think it needs to be like indiscreet, like maybe the Google Glass, like you see like information feed, and maybe it clutters your view to the point where it's harder to engage in a gunfight, or maybe it turns like your field of view in like a color scheme like Jackal is, like it's all purple and sometimes harder to see operators from afar, but that way you can like be active, be on a flank, but you also have a downside where it's slightly harder to take like into a gunfight properly. I I think that would be like a kind of global operator that, like global-ish, but like would be interesting. I think
it'd be interesting to have an operator that could jump between camera-based gadgets, like Watchdog style, regardless of which team they're on. So, like, imagine a Dokkaebi, but where you could jump from a drone to an Echo drone to a default stationary camera to another attacker drone, like jump between them. Like you're only watching one at a time, but like line of sight style. And then he's the only one who can do that, like his ability while you just call him like the ghost in the machine, and he can just like jump between any camera.
The immediate issue that I see with that is like power creeping. It's like Dokkaebi, but better.
Yeah, maybe.
But you wouldn't keep it for everyone to watch. Like, so with Dokkaebi, everyone gets to use all the hack. This would be just that guy. Like, he would be the only one able to see through.
Be a good way to differentiate. But
I'm not saying it would be a good operator. I'm just saying it'd be funny.
Interesting idea, but I feel like it comes back to lack of tools in the toolbox. It's just the same tool, but like different color, right?
But yeah, right now they're on the kick of more just switching things between what defenders and attackers do, more than introducing new concepts. Like, especially if the new ops are true, it sounds like they're basically just doing that again, just switching around what the two sides can do. Which is funny because this game was kind of built originally on so much asymmetry, but now they're just consistently breaking that.
It's basically, hey, there's this defense concept. Let's put it on offense, right?
I'm really afraid of some of the stuff that was leaked on the new operators. Like, if that's true, I'm really worried about the operators.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, some leaks sometimes are crazy though. We've seen some fake leak before, but
I hope the mute jammer will jam that new, if that is true, like the cloaking ability or whatever against cameras. It'd be funny if the mute jammer jams that though. So if you put a mute jammer anywhere near your kind of cameras, then all of a sudden you get revealed.
Hey, what's up?
I would like to see that the mute jammer is actually also disrupting friendly gadgets. Like,
yeah.
You have a ADS in the mute jammer, it's not working. You have a bandit battery in the mute jammer, it's not working. Cool.
I would like to put them on walls too, like more of that variety in where you can put them. So maybe you can like get a hatch or put it in a wall, so it's on the side of the wall instead of just on the floor. But again, it comes to defenders being able to place gadget everywhere, and it's just hard to identify exactly where it is for offense, right?
Then you might as well make it able to stick on ceilings too if you can climb up high enough, and then all of a sudden it's electric claws, the mute jammer version.
Yeah, it might be trouble. That might be trouble. So gadget, counters, more operate. Basically, what I get today, really interesting to see more gadget for defense and offense. Really. I think that's something we can get away from. That might be interesting. I would like to see that a lot. But
cool.